If you want everyone else to follow you, then what makes you unique? And when I say unique, I mean what makes you so different than everybody else that I'm going to drop what I'm doing and follow you and buy from you. You know, being unique isn't always easy, but the alternative is to be cheap. And if you're cheap, it's because you weren't unique in the first place and you had to get cheap, right? You had to sell yourself at a cheaper price. Good morning, Michaela. So being unique isn't always easy, but the alternative is cheap. So if you want to be a great leader, you're either going to be unique or you're going to be cheap. You know, being cheap is someone who's always cutting corners. The reason why you got cheap in the first place is because you weren't unique, and being unique isn't easy. When I say unique, I mean some of the characteristics of a great leader is someone who's humble, someone who shows up, taking responsibility for people around them, always going to God in prayer. Those are some of the characteristics of a godly leader, of a great leader, but they're not always easy. You know, some people say, I want to start tomorrow. You know, but if you start today, I promise you that you'll have results one day earlier than if you were to start tomorrow. You know, great leaders understand that if they want to influence people around them, then they've got to understand that they've got to have success in the midst of adversity. One of my favorite stories is about a guy named James Corbett back in the 1890s. He was a heavyweight champion, right? So this guy would go bout to bout, not for 12 rounds, not for 14 rounds like we see today, but he'd go 21 rounds. So 21 rounds in boxing is probably the craziest thing I've ever heard of. But this guy would go 21 rounds, and he was a heavyweight champion back in the 1890s, James Corbett. And I looked up, I said, man, how do you do it? How does he go 21 rounds? And he says, if you want to be a champion, you got to go one more round. And when things get tough, you got to go one more round. So you've got to ask yourself this question. You're going to be a great leader, but are you going to be unique or cheap? This is Cody, here for your sales training, your motivation, and your hope.